slide 65?
Yep.
On unit 8? Unit 8, slide 65. I hope you're having fun at Disney. All right. So I gotta go fast. Gosh, it's just, everything is so close. Here's the problem is I just don't think that I can get to a review day. Mackenzie, can you go elsewhere, or maybe just back behind page? I don't think I can get to a review day. We have 150 more slides to go. How many slides does that say?
467.
So I have 400 slides. So I gotta get like 130 every day. All right. Here's the thing. This is after 1945. You have to know there's a Cold War. You have to know there's decolonization. Everybody got it? Britain decolonizes how? Pretty gently. But France, wars. Indochina War, the war for Algiers, which is Algeria, they don't give up lightly. France doesn't give up lightly and decolonize. Who said there should be self-determination? Woodrow Wilson in his 14 points. So if you're writing about decolonization, can you bring up his 14 points? Certainly, right? A League of Nations, which is later going to be turned into a United Nations. So anyway, all right. With patient but firm and vigilant containment, the U.S. could halt Soviet expansion. Truman Doctrine, containment of communism. What are we afraid of? The domino effect, which means
more communist
countries will be communist. All right, so Harry Truman adopted containment policy, aka the Truman Doctrine, because he believed a firm containment of Soviet expansion would limit the communist threat. The Cold War is between us and whom? United States, Soviet Union / China. Go ahead. Oh, did you do this? Unless Russia is faced with an iron fist and strong language, another war is in the making. Containing communism through financial military means, because U.S. policy becomes U.S. policy throughout the Cold War. Truman provided $400 million to help Greece and Turkey resist communism. So we do everything in our power to try to make sure countries don't become communist and to get them to become democratic. The Marshall Plan sent $12.5 billion over 4 years to 16 cooperating nations to spur economic growth. Look at those nations. So Marshall, I forget what his first name is, George C. Marshall is Secretary of State, I believe, and he came up with the Marshall Plan because you saw, remember the firebombing of Dresden and Cologne and Tokyo and everything. We send money all over to help people to rebuild their countries. That's the Marshall Plan. But what does it do for us? They have to borrow the money from us. And then, yes, but then what? They use the money to pay us for equipment and goods to rebuild their countries. What's that mean about our economy in the 50s and 60s? We are humming. We're doing great. Go ahead. It's actually called, go back. Oh, it's there. The European Recovery Plan. Go ahead. That's it. The European Recovery Plan. The Marshall Plan was a lifeline to a sinking man. We grabbed the lifeline with both hands. Britain. They would have been screwed. Everybody would have been screwed without that. The Marshall Plan increased American political and economic influence in Western Europe and helped stop the spread of communism in Europe. Go ahead. So Europe. The U.S. created the Council for Mutual Economic Assistance, COMECON, to help rebuild Eastern Europe. It had only a modest impact. Don't go. COMECON. So you have to know that there's going to be two different things. The Marshall Plan is the United States helping people become democracies, but we didn't give that to like satellite states and everything because they were in the control of the Soviet Union. And then COMECON, command economy or communist economy, I don't care how you want to look at it. Command economy, communist economy. COMECON is their attempt at what? You guys, can you move Jason and Alex so I can see you? It's their attempt at kind of like a Marshall Plan. It was terrible. It wasn't very effective. Go ahead. The U.S. emerged from World War II as the only atomic power, but in 1949, the Soviets tested their first atomic bomb. All right, so again, grand scheme of things, I'm going to go flying through a lot of this stuff. The grand scheme, you have to know that there was an arms race and there was a space race. How many people know about this? Right? So we had an atomic bomb. Who remembers when we deployed the first atomic bomb in history? July of 45, and then on August 6th and 9th, the only two, Hiroshima and Nagasaki, the only two other atomic bombs that have been deployed, because what is preventing us from doing it? It's an acronym, 3 letters. MAD.
Mutual asserted destruction.
Assured.
Assured.
Mutual assured destruction. That if you hit that button, what? We're going to hit the button too and absolutely wipe everything out. So still today, we are not having atomic wars because of mutually assured destruction. That it will destroy everybody. And how many people think if it's deployed, it could be the end of the earth? Does anybody think that could happen? So that's mutual assured destruction. Go ahead. Oh, go back. I mean, no kidding, right? No kidding. Go ahead. Because now everybody has it. Now everybody has it. Do you know how many weapons that we have in this? Russia has? Still now? Thousands. Thousands. Like, how many did you say?
2,000.
Is it about 2? 2 to 3. I think Russia's ahead of us. Russia's ahead of us. 2 to 3,000. Do you know who had nuclear weapons? The Ukraine. Isn't that sad? Guess what they did? They undid their nuclear weapons, and now what? There's a war. There's a war. Because if they had nuclear weapons, what? Then Russia couldn't have invaded because of mutual assured destruction. So a hydrogen bomb used fusion and is 450 times more powerful than the bomb dropped on Hiroshima. Both the US and USSR had hydrogen bombs, and an arms race began as both nations built stockpiles of increasingly powerful weapons. You've got to know we have this huge weapons buildup in the Cold War of atomic weapons. Atomic equals they are all nuclear weapons. It was the atom bomb, and then it was the hydrogen bomb. Wait, go ahead. Someday, not too distant, there can come streaking out of nowhere. We won't be able to hear it. It will come so fast. Some kind of gadget with an explosive so powerful that one projectile will be able to wipe out completely the city of Washington. What's that gadget going to be called? ICBMs. Put it down. That's just arms race. ICBMs are the critical component here. What does it mean? Intercontinental ballistic missiles. And what can we put on them? Nuclear warheads. Go ahead. Go back. Look at that. Targets. Soviet targets in the United States of America. Where's national? Damn it. Damn it. Not national. Us too. Where's Ohio? Troy, Ohio. There's not one going to drop on Troy, Ohio. Why not out here? There's nothing out there. There's nobody. Nobody even cares about North Dakota. Do it. Drop it on North Dakota. Nobody's there. Nobody's there. Huh?
So we probably test one of them.
Yeah, right? Go ahead. Both countries realized that they could no longer win a war against each other due to MAD, mutual assured destruction. That's what that is. Go ahead. The arms race raised tensions and caused fears of nuclear Armageddon throughout the Cold War. It's a great word, Armageddon. Right? I think it's in the Bible. Armageddon? Right? A nuclear Armageddon. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. This is the arms race. More and better missiles, more and better, more specific, more easily to target. Missiles, 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 missiles. Here's the difference. Look at that. The nuke, what's that? The Bravo, and then the Tsar Bomba. That's a fun EBD. The Tsar Bomba. It's the most powerful nuclear weapon on Earth, and of course, obviously, it's who? Russia. The Tsar Bomba. Go ahead. Wait, go back. 15,000, USA 10,000. I don't know when that is. Does that say 13?
Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead. Oh, this is famous. This is famous. That house getting exploded by a nuclear bomb. What are those all called? Mushroom clouds. Go ahead. Then the space race. You have to know the space race. You have to know the space race already. I'm going to give you the key components. What's the first thing we have to care about? Sputnik. Weirdly, I had students have to write an essay test for U.S. history, and some damn kid really wrote Sputnik and told me that we launched a potato into space. I am a horrible teacher. I am a horrible teacher that somebody thought it was Sputnik. Holy crap. I just hope they were kidding, but I don't think they were. The rest of the essay, it didn't appear as though they were kidding. And I was like, why would we launch a potato? What? Sputnik. Sputnik. This is Sputnik. Sputnik, and it's a satellite. The first satellite in space is 1957. We launched one shortly thereafter. Then we're going to have people in space. The first one's Yuri Gagarin, and then a few weeks later, Alan Shepard, and then the moon landing. And all of my kids in my U.S. history class were like, oh, there was no moon landing. There's no moon landing. Raise your hand if you think we did not land on the moon. All of you think we landed on the moon? what? How's that possible? Like literally like a third of my US history class says no. Guess what I started watching on TikTok? Did we land on the moon? I was like, oh my God, did we not? Did we not? The only thing that's made me start to think that maybe we didn't is the reason that why didn't we go back? Why haven't we gone back? Do you know what I mean? Like, why didn't we go back?
Pointless, waste of money.
Yeah, but why didn't we? I don't know. Okay, so anyway, when I was 7, there was a moon landing. Go ahead, or at least that's what we think. Now I'm confused too. So in 1961, the Soviets sent the first man on the moon. Yuri Gagarin, put it down, you put it down, put it down. Yuri Gagarin, the Soviets won again. The Soviets won again. And then the next one. Oh, and I know what they had. They had one of the astronauts, I forget who, having said out loud to a child in a classroom that we didn't go when he was old and elderly. Go ahead. So Yuri Gagarin, and then a few weeks later, Alan Shepard. That's not Alan Shepard. Alan Shepard is a few weeks after that we put a man in space. His name is Alan Shepard. And then I guess there's Monkey and Dogs or whatever, I don't know. And then the first man on the moon was Neil Armstrong. Buzz Aldrin was interviewed. And I was watching an interview, and he says to a little girl that we didn't go, but we could have, but we didn't. But he's the one that was theoretically on the moon, and we're like, wait, why is he saying that? And then also there's this guy that runs around and takes a Bible to all the people that theoretically on the moon. Will you swear on a Bible that you've been to the moon? Have you seen that? And all of them refuse to swear on the Bible. Like if you're standing on the moon, wouldn't you be like, yeah, hell yeah, I was on the moon, right? So then I was like, oh gosh. So now my whole U.S. history class has me being a conspiracy theorist. Go ahead. I think we did, because this is one of the most famous images on Earth. Well, that is of Earth, on the moon. That's us looking at the Earth from the moon. I guess that could be taken anywhere, but I don't know. That's a famous image. Space race reflected each nation's attempt to prove the merits of their way of life by seeking the most advanced military applications for space technology. You have to know that there was an arms race and there was a space race. They're the principal parts of the Cold War. Cold War tensions were inconsistent, but proxy wars, the arms race and the space race, reflected the ideological struggle at the heart of U.S.-Soviet relations. There is no more impactful sentence than that one right there. That's the Cold War in a nutshell. More and more weapons, more and more weapons. SALT, Strategic Arms Limitation Treaty. Then we have to limit the weapons. Then we have a détente, a cooling off period, and everything else. Cold War means that we didn't directly fight with whom? Russia and or China. That's a Cold War. But proxy wars means, the first one is, put these down, 1950 to 53 is Korean War. 50 to 53, do you remember how many died?
Which one?
Korea.
53.
53,000. 53,000. It's easy to remember because it was from 50 to 53. Why aren't you writing anything? 50 to 53. The Korean War, 53,000 dies. And then the principal part of the Vietnam War is 64 to 72. After we have a draft and we start sending people. Vietnam, 64 to 62. But like to know the example that I tell them, when John F. Kennedy was elected and took the oath of office in 1961, are you hearing this? 1961, there was 1,000 people in Vietnam, right? So put that down. When JFK was elected in 61, he had 1,000 people in Vietnam. When he died in 63, 3,000. So JFK, in theory, may have died because he was thinking about taking us out of Vietnam. There's a famous saying that Dwight David Eisenhower says, beware the military-industrial complex. What is the military-industrial complex? It's made my brother pretty rich. Somebody remember what my brother makes? He's an engineer. He's got a PhD in mechanical engineering. He went to college for 12 years. Who goes to college for 12 years? My brother. My brother's a PhD in engineering. He went to college for 12 years. He makes jet aircraft engines. And if you have a jet aircraft engine that's new, who gets it first? United States military. The United States military. My brother's exactly the military-industrial complex. Every single weapon, every single plane, every single anything that's brand new always goes where? To the United States military first. The military-industrial complex are all of the companies that get paid military contracts and make millions and millions and millions of dollars making all of the things that the United States military makes. Dwight David Eisenhower was the general where? in the European theater in World War I and then became the President of the United States, the last thing he said when he left office was beware the military-industrial complex. And guess what? We didn't beware it, and now what's happening with our defense spending?
Super high.
Super massively, massively, massively high because of the military-industrial complex that a general that helped win World War II said, be careful of the military-industrial complex, and we did not. Be careful of the military-industrial complex. So the proxy wars, 50 to 53 is Korea. North Korea is what? Communist. South Korea is democratic-ish, right? And we support, of course, South Korea and China and Soviet Union support North Korea. It is called the Forgotten War, and it is forgotten. Nobody ever thinks or talks about the Forgotten War, the Korean War, and it was deadly. In 3 years, 53,000 people died, but guess what? Most of those people died in the first year and a half. Most of those people died in the first year and a half. This is what we were talking about the other day with MacArthur. MacArthur, during the Korean War. So do you remember that Japan is occupied by the United States of America after the war? Do you remember that? That we have 400,000 that we've got to make a brothel? Why do we have to make government brothels? So did I tell you this part? Americans, so after World War II, we occupy, you're going to see it, we occupy Germany and we occupy Japan and Italy, because those are the powers, those are the people that lost the war. So the United States of America was the entire power in the Pacific theater. Are you guys listening to me? So we occupy Japan. We have 400,000 men. They would rape Japanese women at will. Our U.S. soldiers. And all they would say at the end was, at least we didn't kill you. Meaning what? Who remembers what the Japanese did in the rape of Nanking? Comfort women. And they would rape them and then sometimes kill them, burn them alive. And so the U.S. soldiers would say, well, at least we didn't do that to you. And so Japan, the Japanese government, convinced the United States of America, like, you need to make legalized brothels and put them on military bases in Japan because you can't keep raping all of our women. That's unacceptable that that's happening. So we had to make literally brothels for men. And they might be checking to see if we have our door locked.